Theme and amusement parks have taken one of the biggest hits of the coronavirus pandemic. Unlike many restaurants and shops, they can't do delivery, takeout, or limit capacity to just 10 people. Parks have been shut down for well over 2 months with no hope of reopening. However, things seem to be heading in the right direction, and with many states beginning to lift restrictions and China reopening their parks under new safety policies, could we see U.S. theme parks reopen? Today, I will attempt to predict when every park chain will reopen their parks. A given, of course, this is speculation, but there is some evidence for some of my hypotheses. I'm excluding Disney and Universal, and I'm only discussing the major U.S. chains due to the sole fact that I personally believe Disney and Universal rely too heavily on out-of-state visitors. It may be a much longer wait for their reopening. Regional parks can limit their clientele much easier, and for that fact, I'm examining their possible reopening. To start off with, I want to discuss Six Flags. Their chain has already announced how they plan to reopen. A message on all of their parks' website states, to meet state social distancing guidelines and ensure the health and safety of our guests, all visitors to the park must be pre-scheduled using our online reservation system. Seems a bit ridiculous, yes, but I have a feeling they won't be the only park to utilize this registration type system. It definitely will keep people from showing up ready to go to the park only to find out they're already at capacity and must leave. Now, let's discuss the reopening process. A recent message has appeared on the Six Flags mobile app stating that all parks will reopen on July 1st. However, a few days ago, both Texas theme parks had their hours updated to show a May 18th opening date. Was that simply an error, or will we see a mid-May opening date as many have come to expect was the plan for Six Flags? I decided to do some research of my own and ended up contacting Six Flags over Texas. Note, this response came directly from a membership support team member. I don't know how accurate the information is, but the response I got was, as of now, the tentative date is July 1st, but that is subject to change based on the individual state and CDC guidelines. Not a very satisfying answer, to say the least. I understand that Six Flags does have some locations in areas where COVID is still a major threat. New England, Great Adventure, Magic Mountain, and even Great America could all definitely not be reopened until July or even later. But I imagine in states where restrictions are already beginning to be lifted, such as over Georgia, Fiesta, Texas, and over Texas, it may not be too outlandish to imagine a June opening. Cedar Fair is the next in line, and this is an interesting chain to discuss. With many of its locations located in COVID hotspots, I'm not quite sure what to think. Most likely, though many not believe it, is that the Ohio parks would reopen. The governor of this state has already stated that he believes strongly in reopening their economy, and most restaurants are pushing hard for all dine-in food options to be available by May 15th. Also grouped in that reopening would be Carowinds. Their governor hopes to begin reopening their economy on May 8th. I think it'll definitely be a more tricky situation than Six Flags parks, but I could quite honestly see a late June or early July opening for Kings Island, Carowinds, and Cedar Point. Obviously, they'd be under the same type of safety regulations as other chains, with reservations, temperature checks, staggered seating on rides, and potentially virtual queue systems, or at the very least 6 feet apart in line. Cedar Fair is going to have a tough time opening Kings Dominion, Dorney Park, Knott's Berry Farm, and their other parks, but the Ohio and North Carolina parks definitely could be opening not too far in the future. Moving into Herschend Entertainment, Herschend is a privately owned company that owns and operates Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri. I have much hope for these properties for 2 reasons. Reason 1, both properties have extended their passes through June 1st, 2021, meaning that a tentative opening date for these properties is June 1st, though I'm not quite sure if it'll be that soon. Reason 2 is that both properties are located near small but popular FECs that have already reopened. Silver Dollar City is located right next to Branson's Bigfoot Fun Park, and as of May 8th, that park is scheduled to reopen for business. Dollywood is located near Pigeon Forge the Island, which has now been open for weeks. The new Tennessee order even declared that Tennesseans and businesses can return to work in all industries where that can be safely accomplished by following health guidelines, meaning they already have a significant amount of leeway for things to return to normal. My guess is that Dollywood, maybe even Silver Dollar City, will be open by the end of June. SeaWorld parks are located in prime locations for reopening. Other than Busch Gardens Williamsburg, SeaWorld San Diego, and Sesame Place, I would suspect to hear of an opening for the Florida and Texas locations rather soon. Florida is currently in phase 1 of reopening, which does not support the reopening of theme parks as expected. However, if the data supports it, it could move into Phase 2 rather soon. I'm talking about weeks. And under the state's Phase 2 guidelines, parks would be able to reopen, under strict capacity of course, but hey, it's still a win. As for Texas, it seems I stated with Six Flags that Texas is on track to open their economy pretty soon. Restaurants, malls, and gyms are already open at strict capacity restrictions. I would guesstimate that June would very easily allow for SeaWorld San Antonio to open, possibly at 25 to 50% capacity. Regardless of whether or not my predictions come out to be 100% accurate, I highly doubt a 2020 season postponed as many suggest. The crisis seems to be being dealt with responsibly and carefully, and I cannot imagine a parkless 2020 summer. Many may say that my own bias and longing to ride roller coasters is fueling this foolish belief, but I'm trying my best to keep a fully logical and practical approach to the situation. Unless some unforeseen series of events transpire, I don't think reopening is a preposterous thought. But that's just my opinion. Do you think 2020 is out of the question? Or are you a firm believer that in just a few months, coaster trains will be back to hooking onto their chains and carrying riders to their thrilling adventures? I hope you enjoyed my in-depth look at when I think regional chains will reopen their parks, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.